Hi friends! I hope everyone's doing super dandy today because for today's video, we are finally making that SHACKET I've mentioned a few times on my channel. I've mentioned it in my free pattern video where I, listed all the free patterns I wanted to make. And we're getting on that train of making those free patterns. In my last video, I made the free undie patterns that I found. And in today's video, we're making the SHACKET pattern from Mood Fabrics. So this is my second time using a free pattern from Mood Fabrics. The first time was when I made my quilt jacket. And that was quite a hefty pattern. That one took 73 pages to print out. But this one, I already have her printed out. She was only about 40 pages, so a little bit better. And then for my fabric here, I have this beautiful off-white, I don't even know what you call it. It's stretchy, it's cozy inside. It's just what I want to live my life in, is this fabric. So we're gonna be making a SHACKET out of her. But unfortunately, I bought enough fabric, washed it, and it shrunk. So now I don't have enough fabric. So now we are going back to the fabric store to start off the video, and hopefully they still have this fabric left over. If not, before I go get it, we do need a couple other supplies, so I'm just gonna list off all the supplies I'm gonna be using for the SHACKET. First, we need 2 to 3 yards of our fabric. I'm gonna probably use 2.5. 2, we need some interfacing. And we also need some cover buttons. I don't think you actually need the cover buttons where the fabric goes over it, so it's all the one fabric. You could probably use regular buttons, but I'm gonna see if my fabric store has them. If they don't, I'll just get some pretty buttons. Frick yeah, they have it. There's also these fabrics right here for SHACKET, which is not too bad. This one's $15 a yard, so it'd be like $40 for the jacket. Ooh, this one's pretty too. Look at this one. I like her. She has like this texture. I think she's supposed to be inside out because you can see on the other side, she's kind of like sweatpant material. She's $16.98. Or we could go full blown, wrap me up in a blanket and just get a fleece like this. I'm home. And I got a little fabric haul to show you guys. I was very, very lucky that they even had this fabric left over, let alone they had the perfect amount left over. They had 1.5 yards, and that's probably all I'll need for the jacket. I also got some interfacing, and then you guys saw I browsed a little bit, and usually when I browse, I buy. Buying fabric is one of my favorite hobbies. And I found this one. I found this beautiful fleece that I want to make another SHACKET in or jacket in it. Not really sure, but I just want to be wrapped in this all the time. So step number 1, we're cutting the fabric pieces, and I was almost able to cut all the pieces on my first yard and a bit of fabric, but the sleeves didn't fit, so yeah. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. You can tell this morning I am like pumped because last night I was dreaming about this fabric. I was dreaming about me wearing the SHACKET because the fabric is just the nicest thing I've ever felt in my life, and I just want this on my body. So I'm very excited to sew it today. I got my other fabric washed. She's all good to go. So I just need to cut out the sleeves. That's the only thing I wasn't able to cut on my other fabric. So cut out the sleeves. I got to cut out some interfacing, and then once that's done, we can begin sewing. I'm so excited. I'm gonna cut the sleeves now. Going to cut the sleeves. This is the one thing I'm not a huge fan about sewing, is that there's so much prep work before you can actually get on the sewing machine. Like, I just spent 5 hours sewing on interfacing and cutting out pieces. Like, why? So today I'm using 2 machines. I brought out my handy dandy serger over here just because the pattern, the instructions, it said to do a French seam, and you can just do that on a regular sewing machine, but that takes more time and effort, and I'm all about working smarter, not harder. Unless you want really nice clothes, then you work harder. But I'm okay with just like serger inside. Like, I don't need any professional fancy dancy clothes because no one's gonna see the inside of my jacket. So I'm doing it like that. But we're not touching her right now. We're starting with our front pieces apparently, and we just gotta get rid of this, you know, front flap. I'm assuming we're just folding it all the way over where this piece is. Or at least that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna wing it. I'm just gonna fold it a little bit and then a big bit. You know what, Jenna? We're gonna get fancy and we're gonna use our seam gauge. So at the front of my jacket, I do not want any raw edges, so that's why I'm folding over a little bit and then folding it over a big bit, and then I'm using the seam gauge just to make sure that it's even along the whole thing. And that's what the seam gauge is for. Bam, bam! Turkey chicken. I got both of them pinned. They're 1.5 inch, so now we just need to top stitch them. So I was just using my backup machine thinking that she would like my material and she'd be fine with it, but nope. She hates me. She really hates me. So I'm just gonna seam rip this and I'm gonna try it on my other machine here, which she's a beast. So she should take it better. And she also has better feet. So if I need to use like a walking foot or something for this fabric, I can. But yeah, try to get a fabric that doesn't have much stretch in it. You probably have a better time. So next, we are working on pinning the front piece, the two front pieces, and the back piece together. I personally am gonna be using my serger for this part for all the seams, just because, one, I'm lazy, like I mentioned, work smarter, not harder, and two, my fabric does have a stretch to it, so I prefer to use a serger which that seam allows for a stretch. A straight stitch, not so much. Wow, we're just really powering through this. Because next step, we're on the sleeves. And the sleeves comes in 2 pieces, so it's not 1 piece. So we're gonna have to sew the 2 pieces of the sleeves together. I just feel like there's gonna be a lot of detail. Is that hair? Yeah, just a lot of details. So far, I'm actually pretty impressed with this pattern. I like it, it's easy, but it also has like nice details. Like right now, I'm working on the cuffs, and look at that. We got a little open detail for the cuff there, like. I feel like it'd be nice if I did like a little stitch there, you know, a little crossover stitch. I feel like that would, you know, make her. Let's do that. So now that I'm done my fancy top stitch, we can move on to next step. And I think the next step is basting, because we're gonna have to attach a cuff that is smaller than this long piece here. So we're gonna have to gather it. So I'm just gonna do a quick basting stitch. Like that. Every time I'm making something, I just get so excited halfway through when I finish like one thing. Like I just finished kinda a sleeve, and I just wanted to see what it all looked like on my mani. Yeah, I don't have anything else exciting to show you other than look at the sleeve I just did. Look at the sleeve I just did. Isn't that beautiful? So now that I have 3 sewing machines, I feel like they need names, because I named my mannequin Manny. Yeah, that's the only thing I've ever named. But I just feel like my sewing machines need names. Like this one right here, Great Lad right here. I feel like she's a Barbara. Like I just, you know, she's telling me she's a Barbara. And then my serger over here, she's an old one, so she's a Judy. That's a Judy. And then my newest addition, my backup sewing machine right here. I got it. This one is named Penelope. Barbara, Judy, Penelope, Manny. So when I was working on that other sleeve there, the cuff, I originally had both pieces lined with my interfacing, but after feeling them, it was too stiff. Didn't like it. So only one is lined, and I felt like that was the perfect combination. So do you guys remember when I did that basting stitch? Wow, this is when it comes into handy because I just pull on it like this and it gathers it like this. So now I'm just gonna gather it at the perfect amount because we gotta put this collar all the way around the end here, and this is too big, so that's why we have to gather it so it fits. So both sleeves are done. So now I'm just going to pin it to the body portion here. And a few of you guys have commented in my past videos that a pro tip is if you guys want to line up the seams perfectly, so like the whole arm seam, you just tie, wait for it, you take both the strings from both seams and you tie them together in a knot. Just so genius. I haven't tried this before, but I'm trying it now and I feel like this is gonna work. Did this one line up better? No. No. Never mind. Never mind, that hack doesn't work. You know what I just realized? I sewed the arms on backwards. I didn't realize that there was a right way and a wrong way to sew these arms on, so I just sewed them on. But the cuff, like the opening of the, you know, the cuff here is supposed to be the back, not the front. That looks much better now. Way better. The sleeves, because it was looking a little wonky having these in the front. So now for the collar. So for this collar thing, pretty sure it's just the same as the cuff. It is. It's the exact same as the cuff pretty much, where you're sewing, you know, one side of the collar and then you're flipping it onto the inside, tucking it in, and then doing another top stitch, and then Bob's your uncle, and you know, I'd be done with it, but I'm not. Because I made a very big mistake. Like after those sleeves, putting them on backwards, I just felt like everything was starting to go downhill. Like downhill, like real downhill very fast. But you'll find out later what really happened. But I honestly didn't realize my big mistake until the end, so let's move on to the pockets. So for the pockets, you take your squares, you fold it in a little bit, fold it again once over, like I've been doing every single time. Do that for both pocket slips, and then for the top pocket flap. I'm just gonna call it a flap. You sew around the two together, so right side together, sew around, trim it, and then you're good to go for the pockets. So now for putting the pockets on, I am just taking my original pattern here and I'm just like roughly lining it up here on my jacket and then finding the place where it says where to put the pocket, and then I'm just gonna roughly put it in that place. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's a pocket. You can put it wherever you want. Okay, pocket time. Pocket, got a pocket full of sunshine. Polly Pocket. Okay, that's all that came to my head when I thought about pocket. Okay. For the pocket, I would say it's pretty self-explanatory if you're just watching what I'm doing on the screen right now. Like, I think I'm doing a pretty good job at showing you how to put the pocket on, or the free pattern I'm following also has instructions, even though they're not too detailed, but this part's pretty simple. You're just sewing the pocket on. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. Trust me, trust me, trust me, trust me, trust me. Okay, I was gonna tell you a story during this part, but I'm pretty much done sewing the pocket now, so bye. Final step before we get to the buttons. And It's with these pieces, these squiggly pieces, which when I was cutting them out, I was like, what the heck are these for? I had no idea, but this is for the hemming, the bottom, which I thought was neat. Okay, I'm back because now I need to explain something. So you can see right now on the screen, when I attached these bottom lining pieces, they didn't go right to the end, which was kind of strange. So I had to sew an extra little piece on just so it went over to the end and I was able to wrap it around the flap so it looked nicely. So I don't know if that's for everyone or that I just cut it wrong, but that's what happened. And then I sewed it to the bottom. I did a little trim to the edge, and then I was able to pull it inside so it's not on the outside anymore. It just gets rid of the bottom raw edge, and then I pinned it in there. I went and I did a sewing. I meant a straight stitch. I did, yeah. You guys understand me. And I did that on the inside, even though the pattern said to hand stitch, but I was like, heck no, I'm not doing that. I work smarter, not harder. So I did just a straight stitch, which honestly, I think I like that. I think I like that more with that seam at the bottom. I'm sad right now because I thought I was home free and finishing the shacket and all I had to do was the buttons left and then be done, but I'm not. I realized when I was ironing the collar that I sewed it upside down. And I know it's not that noticeable, but it's kind of killing me inside that it's upside down. So, future Jenna tomorrow, she's going to deal with that. She's going to deal with that, yeah. I decided that I'm going to redo the collar. So, where I went wrong last time was I attached the long side, this top side of the collar, to my piece there, my sweater. So this time we're gonna attach the short side. So we're gonna leave the long side open. Come here. Up. Up. Come here. Hello, good morning. How was your sleep? Good morning. Okay, I can definitely admit that redoing the collar was a good choice and not leaving it because it looks way better. It looks way better. I bought these buttons. So apparently you're supposed to just wrap the fabric over top of the button and then click it together and then it becomes, you know, a button with your fabric. So I'm gonna open this up. So there's a circle here on the back. So I'm supposed to cut a circle of my fabric that size. There we go. That's about the size we need. To be honest, I am so impressed with these buttons. Like, they just blew my mind about how easy it was to make a nice button. Like, it just latches on the fabric so easily and just looks so nicely. Like, it takes no time. I'm sorry. I'm just very excited about these buttons, and I'm just kind of lost for words because you just wrap it around, tuck it in there, and then you click on the back of the button, and you got a nice button. So it took me a few tries, like this, but I finally got it. I finally got a beautiful buttonhole. So now that I did a few samples, the button fits through it perfectly. Yeah, it fits through it perfectly. I am going to attempt to do it on my jacket now, which is a little scary because I could destroy my jacket. Okay, reset. Did I do it? Did it work? Did it work? My memory card legit just ran out of memory the minute I finished that buttonhole. I'm sorry you didn't get to see the full reaction of how excited I was. Here's the buttonhole. Now I just gotta take my seam ripper and I just have to seam rip the fabric in between the you want me to show you? Yeah, I'll show you. Here's my buttonhole. You just take your seam ripper and you do this, which is slightly terrifying. But you're just ripping the fabric in between. And that's how you get your buttonhole. So now for the jacket. I'm using the front pattern piece again because it does have little markings on here where you're supposed to put the buttons. So I'm just gonna roughly lay it over and kind of mark where it's saying, and then I'll like adjust them to what looks good, I guess. So I have all my buttonhole markings here. So now I just gotta use my handy dandy machine over here and make the buttonholes. So Miss Penelope, the machine I'm using right now, she is the only machine that I have that will do buttonholes. And she has this amazing feature, a one-step buttonhole feature, where you put the button on the back of the foot and it will sew you the best buttonhole. You don't have to do anything. Just put the foot down and it goes. It's the best thing since sliced bread. But after that, I started sewing on all my buttons, and it's actually kind of therapeutic sewing on buttons. The only thing I don't find therapeutic is when they fall off. You know, when a button falls off a shirt, that's like the last thing I want to do in my life, is actually sew that button back onto it. But if I'm sewing new buttons onto a shirt, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. So use a thread for buttons. Yes, there's a thing called button thread. So get it. Ta-da! What do we think? Isn't she just beautiful? Like, I am so proud. I am so excited. I am so comfy, by the way. It's just, I just have an overload of emotions while wearing this jacket. Good emotions too, not bad. Because honestly, she's beautiful. She's honestly so beautiful. You guys should really make one. I really think you guys should all make your own shacket. It will change your life. 10 out of 10, recommend making your own shacket. I will have the pattern, all the details down below in the description, so if you guys want to download the free patterns, you guys can make your own shacket. I chose the size that was my measurement, so it is quite oversized. So if you want it not as oversized, maybe size down, but if you like this type of fit, I just did exactly the same measurements. I measured my bust and then got the size, and this is the size on me. That's all I had to say. So I hope you guys enjoyed me attempting to make a shacket. It was a bumpy roller coaster, but it sure was a ride. Okay, I'm gonna go. So I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye! Bye!